This has been an interesting discussion, and I want to join Chairman Wolf in commending the DEA agents who've lost their lives, most of which I'm sure lost their lives way before sequestration, and whose lives would have been lost. They're good men and women, but it's not because we didn't give them enough money. And when we're cutting other areas of the government, and we just saw legal services getting cut by $15 million, why are we giving DEA $35 million more? They just did a book here, The Dangers and Consequences of Marijuana Abuse. I don't know how many of these were published, but it's almost a comic book when you read it. They go so far as to have a section, and I love pets. I miss my cat and I miss my dog, but they've got a section on here about pets are also at risk. More dogs are being poisoned by marijuana. They're really going to the bottom line to try to find some rationalization for their work, that they're protecting pets. And these pets are in areas that marijuana is not legal. They also have a section in here about other consequences of marijuana use, and that's where they got the pet section. But then they've got this section here, and they have this whole area about somebody breaking in and stealing cash from a marijuana dispensary and saying this was a problem. Well, sure it's a problem, just like people break into liquor stores and rob them. And the reason they do is because there's a lot of cash money there, and the federal government hasn't allowed the marijuana dispensaries to use credit cards. And so because of the fact that they have to use cash, they attract the robbers and the burglars. That's not a response to something that marijuana caused. That's something that the government caused by requiring there to be a lot of cash there. And that is independent of the fact that it's marijuana, and that is listed under what they have, other consequences of marijuana use. That's not a consequence of marijuana use. That's a consequence of the government not allowing those people to use credit cards instead of having a large amount of cash on hand. The director there has embarrassed herself time after time after time. She's the last supporter of the failed war on drugs. She refuses to accept the fact that what President Obama said, that alcohol has more damage to consumers than marijuana. She questioned the president on that, and she's wrong. She also questions mandatory minimums and thinks mandatory minimums are still the right thing to do. I think most all of us know mandatory minimums are a colossal failure and waste of time, $30,000 a year to put people in jail. And she criticized Mitch McConnell. Senator Mitch McConnell criticized her because they went and confiscated hemp seeds in Kentucky that were there for study. They are out of control. And the $35 million additional that we're intending to give them is throwing money away. And it's not going to have anything to do with DEA agents being killed. In fact, it might save some. But the fact is we have to prioritize where we spend our monies, and this is not a spot. If we want to put that money into education, we want to put it into health care, we want to put it into other areas that are important, where probably that $35 million should be in the National Institute of Health, where we could find a cure for cancer or diabetes, find treatments for stroke or illnesses dealing with heart disease and AIDS, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's. That's where the money needs to go. That's money that saves American people's lives. And giving that money to the DEA is not going to save any DEA agent, and more DEA agents are going to die from cancer and heart disease and diabetes and Parkinson and AIDS that are going to die because they've been shot, and that money would be better effectively to save them by putting it in the NIH in Bethesda, Maryland, and finding cures and treatments for the diseases that are going to kill us all. But we're not doing NIH, we're doing DEA. That's a mistake.